Hey guys, what's going on? Zine here, and I am back on the Trollcraft server where I have just finished adding a whole lot of lava to the caldera here. Yeah, it was many blocks that we've added in, and I also experimented a little with the surface, trying to make it a little bit more interesting. I'm not terribly happy with the result, but it'd be too much of a pain to go back and redo it all again. So maybe, next time I do it, I'll try adding something a little bit different, but it just it didn't really work out the way I wanted. One of the problems is with the pack that Voxel Sniper is in it, but Voxel Sniper currently isn't working with the server. So Kian and I are spending some time and trying to figure out what's making that be not work correctly. But until I get Voxel Sniper and a decent terraforming tool, anything I do is either through World Edit or hand placement, and it's not great. World Edit's good for taking big chunks and blocks and doing stuff, but it's not really great for molding things per se. And this is just way too big for me to try and do too much without getting into having some better tools. So that's one of the reasons that I haven't really taken off much further with the whole caldera boiling over idea and the explosion and stuff like that. It's still there, and if I can get some tools, then there's some fun things that I can do there. But until such time as Voxel Sniper becomes available, I don't know that I have the energy to try and hand place 18 billion blocks between work and all the other normal things. But I did end up having to move the scoreboard slightly, and I redid it a bit as well. I made it a little bit spooky, but not too badly. I mean, just added blood, and that way maybe Craner won't try and steal it. But I experimented with the scoreboard being red font, and that just looked ridiculous. So I set that back, but yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, and changing just in the general environment and ambience. For some reason, the sky likes to blink a lot down here, but yeah. So the other things I want to do with this episode are I have a list of frequently asked questions that I get through the YouTube comments that I pick up through my Discord server, and that I want to kind of run through and just answer for you guys. And then also, I actually want to do a little troll on Craner, and I've started that just to make sure that I had the commands and everything and that I like the layout. Basically, he's been causing some problems with some terraform. I don't know, whatever excuse you want to make. It's just to have fun. But he's been being a little indiscreet with his footprint in the map. And I was building up a nice little lava vent up here, and then he just kind of blew it out when he was doing stuff. So I'm gonna, just give him just a little something to make him happy. And I thought it'd be kind of funny, at least to me, it'd be funny to try and use some of their own trolls against him. I mean, a lot of people complain about recycling, but there's also different ways to implement the same trolls. So what I've been thinking is, right now it's so hot right now, the resonant ender and the teleporting, right? But the other thing that's been just a staple of the series has been ghost blocks. So I kind of was thinking maybe I could, just booby trap his floor a little. And so what I've done is I've taken a selection and grabbed some random holes in his floor, and I'm going to fill all these holes with ghost blocks, but I'm going to fill the layer down below with resonant ender. And I wanted a random selection so that he can't just vein mine easily and be like, oh, there they are. And then and if everything goes well, then he'll frequently keep moving around and finding one and bumping into it. And so it's kind of, I'm hoping it's a troll that just kind of keeps on giving. So that's kind of my hope. Maybe he'll just take the time to clean it all out, but really it's just to say, hey Craner, we love you and congrats on 2 million, and this is the way that I say congrats and all those things. Oh, and the other thing I was just thinking I might do is I might just come find, and I think it was the third one, I could be wrong, but I know that he fixed that one. So let's go ahead and put this down, and then go take this and put that there, and just let him be. I actually really like little trolls that leave him confused. Like where they just things didn't work quite the way they expected. So he's gonna be like, I swear that I fixed that, and I'm gonna sit there and giggle because I'm a simple man and amused in simple ways. And if you ever wonder why he seems to always be out of wood, I might have something to do with that as well. But shh, no telling. actually, I say that, but you guys are, if I can just say this, with all the love and respect in the world, you guys are absolutely horrible about trying to spoil trolls for the other. It's a, my favorite's this guy, so I'm going to tell him exactly what's going on and what the bad people, the other players did to him, and, just generally try and ruin the series so that their guy wins or whatever. I don't understand it. It's pretty simplistic thinking, but, so he'll catch on pretty quick, but I that's why I'm not showing how I did it or where I did it or anything like that. But yeah, Crainer's Wood problems, I might know a little something about that. So, but let's see. So the other things that I wanted to do today, I have a series of questions, and I have a little document here that I want to read, and that I'm still in game, so that's not going to work. That, I thought you guys might appreciate seeing and having some questions answered. So first and foremost, the most common by far, and I've responded a couple times, but it's definitely the one that continues and will continue, is how do I get the Trollcraft mod pack? And the answer is the actual Trollcraft mod pack as it is that we're playing, you cannot right now. We have it private. It is on AT Launcher, and as far as I know, without making guarantees because things can change, but as far as I know, the plan is as the series is winding down, then we'll probably make it public. But we've already had instances where other YouTubers have copied it, even though we have it marked as private. They've gone in, and AT Launcher still publishes what mods are in the pack, even if they don't publish the pack itself, and they've copied it and are creating their own series based around it, which is, it's not necessarily the coolest thing to do in my opinion, but I don't think anyone's going to call the YouTube lawyers and make a criminal case. It's just kind of a crappy thing to do. But that's the funny part there, though, is, not to get into anything, but the funny part there is that some of them actually have credit to Kian and I for the mod pack, like, hey, it was made by these guys, and it's like, yeah, and we made it private, and we didn't give anyone permission to use it. But cool. Anyway, not a big deal. So past that, the other thing that we're doing is we changed the mod pack a lot. And we just had web displays get installed. We saw that last week, and it's been in here the last week, and that's been kind of a fun one. That's how they've been passing the videos and doing the diss tracks. It's a much better way to do the diss tracks and that sort of thing than the typical way, the Rick rolls, etc. And in addition to that, not only do we have that newly added, but we've commissioned the original developer who stopped developing it a year or two ago, and we actually got him to add some improvements and things that are Trollcraft specific. So, one of the ways, in light of other people doing packs that are similar and, trying to kind of do, again, similar things, one of the ways that we want to differentiate ourselves is, first and foremost, we're just going to try and be funnier and better and do all the things that you try and do, right? We're just, and I think that given that you guys have been reacting so positively, that there's already a good response and all of that. So, but we'll just continue being the best that we can. But in addition to that, the other thing is we're adding in changes to mods that aren't available to public. I mean literally, like, you cannot get these changes even if you build your own pack, sort of thing. And we're going to probably be forced to go down that route a little bit more, just to keep ourselves unique and to get continue to give ourselves a advantage or an edge or whatever, and differentiate ourselves. Because while I feel like in a lot of ways we were the original in this style, and certainly with this mod pack, that we continue on to improve and that sort of thing. So that's one of the reasons that the server or the mod pack just isn't made available, is to keep it, because we are changing it all the time. And I don't want you guys to install a mod pack, be playing it, and then have your world blown up because we added something for a joke that we take out in a week or two, because that happens. And so anyway, that's the kind of deal with the mod pack. It is on AT Launcher, it is private, and as far as I know, the plan is to make it public as the series is winding down, but I don't have an ETA on when that is, and that's kind of that. But that's the most commonly asked question. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Okay, the next question I had to stop and go do some research for. But the question is, when did planning for the Trollcraft series start? I was contacted about it in the middle of May, and it looks like it launched around the end of August. So, middle of May is when I was contacted. I do know that some work had been done prior to me coming on board. That there was someone else who was working with Keehan who dropped out of the project for one reason or the other. I don't know the details there. But yeah, I was brought on, and the main things that I started out doing, and the original focus was primarily just on the mod pack and creating the custom mod pack. So they, Kian and the other developer pack creator had put together a fairly large pack, and then the main focus that I did was to remove mods, honestly. And having worked on My Night, having worked with the crack pack and the kitchen sink type thing, I wanted a mod pack that would launch a lot faster. It's still not fast, but significantly faster than those huge mod packs. And then just the more you have, the more likely it is that something's going to go wrong, right? So we decided no plugins on the server if we can avoid it, because plugins and mods don't play nice together at all. That was one of the huge issues that happened in the My Night server. And yeah, that was the primary focus. About half of that time, those 3 months or so, um, was the map being developed and being commissioned and that sort of thing. So the map took, I would say, between 4 and 6 weeks. But again, that's just roughly, very loose out of my head. But yeah, it kind of gained speed as we maneuvered. At first, it was just kind of some conversations. Here's what we're thinking, that sort of thing. But Kian really kind of helped drive and keep it moving forward. And then one thing led to another. We finished the mod pack. Mr. Matspy helped out with that a little bit as well for My Night. And then I went in and started creating achievements, because we talked about it and decided that having them have some sort of goal or something to aim for might be good. So I kind of put my writing into use and worked on the achievements, tried to kind of make them funny, come up with interesting stuff. And yeah, then it just kind of snowballed, and here we are. So, how long did it take to put the mod pack together? Well, as I said, that was, I think, yeah, we continue to work on the mod pack. That's a hard question to answer, because there's still changes. We still occasionally find a config problem. We still tweak this or that or whatever. But the bulk of the time, I think, was probably 6 weeks of review time between Kian and I after I came in. But that was when I came in. Like, the ID conflicts were already resolved. I mean, there were a lot of things that had been taken care of, and that was quite handy and quite convenient for me. I didn't have to deal with them all. So we did, most of our time was going into analyzing mods, figuring out what was in them, whether they were redundant, whether they were needed, whether they thought they had trolling capacity to them, and then if so, then they were stayed. If not, then they were removed. And so yeah, I had to become an expert in a lot of the mods. I'm not an expert in every one of them, but I had to figure out a lot of them just to be able to test them and make sure that they were everything I wanted them to be, and that they really had a place, or might potentially have a place in the series. What is my favorite mod in the mod pack, and what do I wish the YouTubers would take more advantage of? I don't know that I have a favorite mod. There's mods that I'm partial to just because they're kind of my go-to mods. So I mean, I guess if that's what you want to call it. I mean, the Secret Rooms mod has provided a lot of trolling fun. But it just, for me personally, like, I love automation. So Applied Energistics and thermal, whatever, thermal expansion, whatever they're calling it these days. But the thermal expansion, Applied Energistics are kind of my favorite ones. And then I love big reactors, but I love doing the active reactors, the turbines, doing the stuff like that. You might notice in the troll book, or in the achievement book, that I try and call Jordan out. Even I suspected, even before he put this together, that he was going to sit with a passively cooled reactor. And so the achievement's structured in some way that it's like, join the big leagues, like, actually, come in and do it right. And he still has avoided it. But those are kind of, I mean, power generation, I don't love constantly having to feed a generator. So I appreciate the big reactors is difficult and complex, but yet simple enough that you can get started and get going and do it. And then, yeah, Applied Energistics and thermal expansion, and playing with the machines and stuff. I love it. on average, how much time do you, Kian, Sparkles, Craner, and Sunday each put into the series? Well, I can't really speak for them. I know that Sunday puts a lot of time on his recording days, like hours and hours and hours throughout the week. I'd assume that, and from what I can tell, that Craner and Sparkles both put a fair amount of time into it. They care very much about the end product, and they put a lot of time and effort, and I think that it really shows in a lot of what they do. Kian does a lot of the work for the server itself. It's funny they call me the server master because that's not actually what I do. The Kian runs the server, the literal server, and he does a great job there. He's been helping very recently with testing new achievements that we're going to be rolling out, and does a lot of the back end stuff. But obviously, he kind of hasn't done as much visibly as I have. Whether that's good or not, some people are mixed on that. But yeah, I don't know what hours or anything he's putting in, but anytime I need help, anytime I ask for help, he's right there, Johnny on the spot. So, I mean, nothing but respect there. And then for me personally, I would say, it depends on the day. I watch all their videos, and if I'm making changes, then it can easily be multiple hours. Otherwise, it's probably about an hour a day. I mean, very, very, very roughly. To kind of help look at the server, make sure any trolls are there, make sure I've seen any videos linked to people to the correct time code so they can see reactions, that sort of thing, and then just discussions, etc. What is my personal favorite troll so far? I gotta say that Sunday's recent one with Craner and the video was great. I actually, as I was doing the lava, I had the bow chicka bow wow stuck in my head. And if there's anything I don't want stuck in my head, it's that. But I mean, it cracked me up. And I think it went even further and just was fantastic when Jordan accidentally encountered it. And yeah, his Jordan's reaction in his last video when he unintentionally hears the audio for the screens but doesn't have context on why it's playing, that was a fantastic moment for me. How many times have I had to yell at the YouTubers for things that they've done? I don't know that I've really had to ever yell at them. I mean, we joke and we banter back and forth, and I might, hey, what are you doing in my map or whatever. But the reality is, we're all in this together. We're all working together, and I have a general idea of what they're doing before they're going to do it, or I might be like, wow, I didn't expect it to be nearly that expensive or whatever. But yeah, I mean, they play how they play, and I'm not here to genuinely restrict them in any way. And so I'm not going to be like, you can or can't do this unless it's just for the show. Do we ever argue about the scoreboard? Actually, just today, and in general, no. They just kind of I've tried very hard to keep the troll points and the scoring to be non-subjective, and so it's you troll one person, you get 1 point. It's not about the scale of the troll. It's just here's a point. And that's a little limiting, right? Because Sunny does these big elaborate trolls, and Craner and Sparkles do, to varying degrees, and they have their big elaborate ones. Don't get me wrong, but they have their little quick shots here and there, but nothing necessarily quite as extensive or not as frequently as extensive. And yet they get the same amount of points for their small trolls as Sunny does for his big ones. Is that fair? I mean, there's some question there, but I just really didn't want people arguing, playing favorites, and that sort of thing. So it was just kind of here's a point for a troll. And that's minimized the arguments. But that said, like today, as I mentioned, I gave Sunday some extra points for the Craner troll. I gave him a point because that thumbnail was so horrific, and when I logged on to help him set it up, and he had the 4 screens, and I teleported to him, and I was in the middle there where he was setting it up, and I had that kid baby thumbnail staring at me, and I'm just like, duh. And so I gave him a point for trolling me. Yeah, I mean, why not? He put a lot of work into it, and but Jordan was like, hey, and but it's fine. There's no genuine arguments there. Once you guys have finished all achievements, we'll be making more. We're actually already working on some more, and that's something that I think that will continue to be added as the series progresses, and as the nature of the series changes as well. One of the things that's kind of different is the just how they play isn't necessarily how I understood they were going to play when I wrote the achievements. And you can see that by the way that there's a lot of achievements in there that are, in tandem, do this while they're logged in, that sort of thing. I didn't recognize or know, or just, it was a surprise to me that they recorded so much separately. And so consequently, those achievements are very difficult for them to achieve. But we'll continue to roll things out. We'll continue to adjust things, and I don't see any reason to make those go away per se. Because who's to say that they aren't going to get online together and manage to pull some off? And then finally, one of the things that I also see requested a lot and was asked about is, are they ever going to troll together? And the answer is, we've talked about it. There's been some plans of things that we could try and do, and some events, some challenges, things like that. They're all still primarily in the discussion phase. I have actually built some things to go along with a challenge, but it's complicated, and right now the formula is kind of working a little bit. We don't want to get complacent. We don't want to just phone it in per se, but we don't want to break something that isn't broken either, or try and fix something that isn't broken, I guess. And so that's something that I think that it'll happen. Whether it gets to be with that consistent or not, probably not, just because of scheduling. But I think everybody, including them and including me, would like to see some episodes where they spend some time together. So that's pretty much as far as FAQs and things, quick questions. That's some ideas. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. If you have more, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you enjoy me answering questions like that, then be sure to leave a like. All those fun things that request. And I don't want to go full Craner on you guys, but if you guys want to subscribe as well, I'd love it. And I'm approaching 50,000. It's no 2 million, but that'd be pretty awesome for me as a much smaller and kind of side character to reach there. So hey, small plug. Let's get on with it. So yeah, let's go ahead, and I'm going to dig these out and get some resonant ender and fill them in. And it might not necessarily be. Some people might complain that it isn't fair because I don't have to. I can break these easier, and I don't necessarily have to pay for the ghost blocks or the ender or anything like that. And I would say life's not fair. Sorry, but hopefully this is pretty funny, and we'll see how this goes. One of the other things I considered, and maybe we'll do it in a spot or two, is not having necessarily, maybe we could just drop some lava. Not that lava really bothers him much, but because he has his suit, but just something to mix it up a little, and also just kind of as throwbacks to, again, throwing back to the things that we've done. Maybe he can step in some poop on occasion, and just make. Well, there we go. Spawn myself an endermite. Alright, kill him, and let's try and not fall into our own troll, what shall we? From here on out, and this will be a sewage one. We'll just make this nice and stinky. One of the things that I really have noticed a lot in the comments is people talking about, you're breaking the rules here, you're breaking the rules there. And I want to stress, at least, for the people that are interested in how the series goes together, I realize that's a significantly different portion than necessarily those who are speaking on YouTube comments and that sort of thing. But I did want to stress that there isn't necessarily rules. We've talked about, and they've set rules for themselves. I mean, Craner's talked about things that he doesn't want to do, or, but if Sunday wants to steal, then Sunday can steal. And if they want to redo a troll, then I have no problem. Like, I get very frequently, I get Twitter comments and people, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, etc., of people telling me, you need to go and punish this person or that person for this egregious offense or that one. And the reality is that, unless I'm going to use it for a troll opportunity of my own to kind of add a little bit, then it doesn't matter. And, if that's how they want to or create their video, if that's what they want to do, then more power to them. Yeah, and they've come very far being very funny and very entertaining, and I think they have a pretty good idea, better than me, of what works and what doesn't that way. So yeah, I'm not getting in on that. And let's put my wand away. And well, okay. So one of the things I don't want to do just yet is fill in the blocks. because otherwise I'm going to end up teleporting myself everywhere, and that's not what I'm looking for. So yeah, I was just like, oh, I'll just do this along the way, and that'll be nice. But I think perhaps creating a system and going about it a little bit more methodical way of finding these would be the better route to go. I don't know about you guys, and also I understand fully like a good portion of these he might never step into, but that's just kind of the fun of it. Is it's like a landmine, you know? Just every now and then it's just, gosh dang it, Zane, and he falls again. So yeah, that's all I'm going for there. All right, are we missing stuff? Looks like we're still missing a little bit here or there. But in general, I think we're getting pretty close. Pretty close. You know, it's funny. If you were to ask me, I would say that I've probably trolled and played with Craner more than anyone else. But yeah, it doesn't matter whose videos you go to. There's someone commenting about how I favor this person or that person. And I mean, I kind of get it. Like, it's just you want to see your guy win and the other guys lose and that sort of thing. But actually, I want these guys to be more enderish over in this general area. Okay, so now we've got ourselves a nice little array of poop and lava and ender, and so add a little bit of ghost blocks and we'll just be fine. And we want to make sure that I don't end up stepping in them anymore, so let's go ahead and say from this side over, make sure that we don't you know, I could always just fly. That's a thought, something that might help me avoid, you know, falling in and having problems. This will, I think, be a slightly more troublesome troll than perhaps the just, yeah, well, I mean, it can't be more troublesome than Ender coming from the sky because, let's face it, Craner made that about as hard as it could possibly be, about 18 times harder than it had to be. Between you and me, and I don't know for certain, but between you and me, I think that he kind of secretly wanted to rebuild his base anyway. If not, then he's a silly goose. Okay. I think we're just about good to go. Finish that up, and now for the sign. Let's see. I'm sure he has a sign he's willing to lend me. Here, I'll even give you a ghost block, a block of quartz, and some poop. So, you know, there's those for you. So let's give me a sign. Give me a sign, baby. Now, what do we want to say? What do we want to say? I fixed your floor. I think it's better. Z. So he won't blame one of the others. He'll know who was involved and who was really. Look, I didn't even have to borrow a sign from him. He had it. So there we go. That finishes that up, and that'll finish up this episode of Trollcraft. Remember, guys, make sure you follow the three principles of the Trollcraft series. That is Sunday, Captain Sparkles, and Mr. Craner. And be sure to follow on Twitch. Subscribe here if you like behind the scenes stuff. And again, let me know in the comments if you have further questions you want to hear answered, or you know, just what your thoughts are. In the meantime, you guys all have a pleasant day, and I'm gonna get out of here. It's very late, and I don't know if you can tell, but I just barely got back from the gym and am very tired. So yeah, have a good night, and I will see you guys next video. So till then, bye bye.